How would you like to be able to have the keys to living a good life? David Cohen will tell us how. And he's the author of Live Life Swift, a guide to living a good life. He's an author, business coach, and facilitator, and he just came out with this third book, and he has taught thousands over the years in both the nonprofit and for-profit sectors, and has coached business owners to sell, plan, and market their ventures successfully. And he specializes in helping business owners mine their strengths, get clear on their value in their markets, and then begin to develop a sales and marketing game plan that gets results. So David, so excited to have you here. Tell us about living a good life. Heal Podcast with Lily Patrascu shares longevity and anti-aging techniques to stay young forever, increase energy, overcome addiction, and live your longest, best life ever. Shared by world's most innovative, alternative, and traditional health thought leaders, healers, and doctors. Discover quantum healing strategies to heal your mind, body, and soul.
Well, it's really about, Lily, it's such a crazy time, right? And there's so much, we're probably guilty of it, because I do online training, and you're doing podcasting and everything. So there's so much noise and distractions trying to take us away from our true selves. And so this method is about connecting to your true self. And there's 5 key pillars that you need to sort of be aware or conscious of in order to live your best life. And that's social, and that's what SWIFT stands for. It's not Taylor Swift, sorry. Didn't want to sort of mislead your audience or anything. But it stands for social, work, or business. The I is inner. The F is financial, and the T is taken care of. And we have another little pillar called big dreams. So when you, at the beginning of every month, what I suggest, and I have a SWIFT chart to go with it, where is that you plan your month, you design your month at the beginning of every month around what do I want to do socially? So you're not forgetting your friends or having fun or playtime for yourself. And then the work or business is about, what do I want to do if you're an employee somewhere? What do I want to do moving forward? And if you're running a business, you know that the tasks are never ending. So what do we want to do this month to help keep us focused on our business and creating what we want? And then the inner is your inner game, like meditation, learning, journaling, prayer. And then we've got financial, which is what are your financial goals for the month, and taking care of. And taking care of is about, the T is taking care of. That's about taking care of your health, your family, and community. And then we have the big dream section. So when you live all 5, let's say in one day you do all of that, you've taken care of the whole SWIFT plan, you cannot help but be in the zone and just feel so abundant and well and happy. And that's the SWIFT method in a real nutshell. Yeah.
Thank you. So how important is it to start with the social part versus actually starting with other things? And the reason I ask you this is because many years ago, I came up with the happiness calendar. And what I was doing is, at the time, I was a nanny, okay? And I was children, and you could say a lot of people could be depressed about that, like, why am I not doing better? Why am I not, in a better position? Why am I not, And what I find is that sometimes you could be overlooking so much of what you do have. And I just I read this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People, and it was talking about really appreciating and being grateful for what you have right now, and being the best burger flipper if you're a burger flipper, being the best taxi driver if you are that, being the best at what you do so much that people notice you and you transform the joyful factor inside of you. And because of that, you operate at a so much better level overall. And what I did, for example, I started putting my happy moments throughout the calendar around my work. And that was the thing that really elevated my entire existence. Is that a similar concept where you prioritize what you do socially so that you can give yourself that boost factor so you have the energy to do the things that really matter, that will push the needle forward in your business?
And that's a really good question, and I love what you did. Oh my God, that's like super creative. Actually, it's the SWIFT idea. It's an acronym, so there's no like do one thing first. What you want to ideally, what you want is you want to incorporate all 5 of these in your day-to-day life, and when you do that, you're taking care of the whole you, right? So yeah, focus on doing your work and making your job fun. I even write in the book, we write about, this the fact that employees are, it's the lowest time in terms of employee engagement right now. And that was just done by Gallup poll recently. They came out with the study. So, be your best at work, even though you might not like being a burger flipper or, being a Starbucks person or a nanny in your case, be the best at it, because when you work, you never know who's going to show up. And somebody might say, wow, I really like what your attitude and your spirit, and they might hire you to work with their company. So there's no sort of set, start with your social. You want to do a little bit of everything, ideally. There's a really good book, Lily, that came out a couple years ago by Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, and it's called 10 times is better than 2, right? 2 times. So in the book, they say, really harness your peak work business time, do what you need to do, and cut. And then, stop. And then, have time for your health, you're taken care of, maybe a walk in the park, or going for a coffee with a friend. So there's the social aspect, right? So you want to work this into your day. There's no set, you got to do this first or that first. It's just, you want to just be your whole self. Yeah.
Thank you. One of my biggest downfalls has been my inability to master my emotions, and to my inability to master disappointments and what I felt around, anger and resentment and, the kind of things that I experienced in my business that I was just unable to cope with. And I got no therapy around as well. So I find that not being able to master your inner self can be literally the downfall of your entire life. And I wonder whether you have any particular tips for someone to be able to master their inner self, because then it's almost like you feel like all of the domino pieces kind of start to fall and everything starts to fall in place.
Yeah. And matter of fact, we do discuss that, because you're going to have those moments. You're going to have clients or prospects that are nice to you, or they don't return your call, or you didn't get the deal, or, that kind of thing. So yeah, we do talk about it. And so I feel the first tip is to be okay with it, be okay with your anger. Don't take it out on somebody else. That's not the key. But a few things that I find work are journaling it out. So I'll write maybe a letter to somebody that I'm upset with. Let's say it's a client and they didn't hire me, and not only that, they didn't really, call me back or whatever. They kind of ignored me or ghosted me. What I would do is I would write a letter to that person and get all my angst and anger and frustration and disappointment and my hurt out onto the letter. And then what I'll do is I'll either just delete it, rip it up, or if safely, burn it and just let it go. Just let it go. There's that new book by Mel Robbins called, Let Them, which is about just let them be who they're being. And then just you decide, do I want this in my life? No? Okay, then I'm moving on. Another thing too, Lily, that helps is get a pair of boxing gloves. You can get them used. And usually at a gym you go to, there's a big, what do you call those things? The punching bag, right? Go to the gym and just punch that bag, pretending it's the person or the thing that's bothering you. And that really, really helps. Getting that anger and the energy out. So this is a nice. These are nice ways to get out your anger and energy. Also, just like go in your car and scream. Like primal scream therapy, it's called. Just like yell at that person in your car. Hopefully, nobody's sitting next to you, and the drivers aren't looking at you funny as they're passing you by. But those are three things that you can do to release anger. And anger is important. It's an important emotion. Denying that anger leads actually to depression. So just let it out, but don't let it out on the person. Maybe down the road you can come back and say, hey, in future, I didn't like how that worked. Can I ask you if you can, do this, and approach them in a calm way, and, own your disappointment and ask for something better, in terms of treatment and how things can be, handled. I hope that helps you.
Yes. Tell us some habits that entrepreneurs who are successful master or implement in their lives in order to master their inner self.
I feel knowing yourself is really important. Like, I was looking at some of your past episodes and your work as a brand specialist and helping authors. And with your work, you're helping, your clients know themselves, knowing your value, knowing your worth. I feel that's really important, and owning your worth, not being egotistical about it, but just being sort of like confident in it. So knowing who you are, knowing your value is really important, and then knowing your audience. So, based on your value, what you're bringing to the world, who's going to benefit from that? So those are a couple of keys that entrepreneurs really have to be aware of. It's all about communicating your value. Here's what's in it for you. Here's how we work. Here's what you're going to get from working with us. You want to give and serve your customers with something that they need and want, and that's going to help them. So if you do that, that's a big part of the battle. Yeah.
Thank you. A lot of entrepreneurs self-sabotage by not showing up. And what I mean by not showing up is not showing up for either a client call that they plan to have, or not showing up by not sending sales proposals that they said they would send.
Yeah.
In case, the way I self-sabotage is, you'll notice that I have 6 podcasts, okay? And all about other people. Okay, there is one where I, share some information about being a charismatic speaker and leader, which is really not my topic. And the way I self-sabotage is by not showing up and not talking about my main topic. Okay, and yes, I support hundreds of other people to show up and to, be promoted to the world, but I don't do it. So how would you recommend entrepreneurs who are still self-sabotaging or not showing up in an area of their life, what should they do to be more courageous to show up?
I feel like you've got to examine the fear. What is it that's in you? It's either the fear or it's a belief. So what's in it in you that you're holding on to? What's the belief that's preventing you from showing up? Maybe, for everybody, it's I'm not good enough. Like, nobody escapes that one. Or there just could be a fear of, again, I'm not good enough. Who's going to, want to know about me? What makes me different? Like, you're good at serving other people and helping other people, but you got to get good at also owning who you are and owning your greatness. And again, not, being, look at me, yada, 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 but just owning it and know that somebody that you want to talk to or meet or speak to, they're waiting to hear about you, Lily. They want to know, how did you do this? How did you create all of the things that you have going on? It's really amazing. So, just believe in yourself. Examine the fear. Examine the inner fear. What's the little voice in your head saying, and just let it go. Like, thank that little negative voice and say, yep, thank you. I appreciate your comments, but I'm going to do this, So you need to have that kind of a feeling or attitude, and to just be okay with not being good enough. So what? The only person that knows you're not good enough is you, nobody else. Everybody else is waiting for your message, Yeah.
Thank you. What can entrepreneurs do to heal their pocket, to heal their finances? What kind of habits or routines should they put in place in order to start seeing their finances work for them?
Marry rich. No. When you asked, buy a lotto ticket. I think number one is have a good game plan, and a good strategy. And do your homework, like crypto's come out big time, right? And it's gone up, it's gone down. You have to, know what your goals are, know what your risk tolerance is. Like, oh, do I want to go into crypto? What if it did crash or something? Am I prepared for that? So know your risk tolerance, know what your goals are, know what you'd like. And trust that money isn't, like, your wealth doesn't come from somebody else. Your true value, your true wealth comes from God and within. So trust that, God's the provider. It's not somebody else that's going to provide for you. So, just have a game plan, know your risk tolerance, know what your goals are, and put trust in the universe or God or whatever you want to say, that it will come, that the money and the flow will come. And if you're of service to others first, like that, having that attitude, and you're not trying to pull one over on somebody, when you're of service and there's a big need, people will find a way to pay you, and they'll pay you well. They said that more millionaires were created in the Great Depression than any other time. And why was that? Because the need and the problems were huge back then, similar to what we're in now. So the bigger the problem, the more money you make.
Thank you. Tell us how someone can live life, at an extraordinary level by mastering the relationships they have with their family.
Really important, especially if you have young kids, take that time to connect with the kids. I share a story about my family. We have a Friday night dinner, and it's a time for their kids and my sister, my brother-in-law, I sometimes go over, and it's a time for their kids and to be together, have a beautiful meal, and just, catch up on the week. And now, my sister has, grandkids like aplenty. We just had a baby boy born into the family about 6 weeks ago. So just make time for your family, make time for connections, turn off the phones, turn off the gadgets, and just connect. If you've got a partner, have date nights, keep the romance going. Buy flowers at the end of every week. Have a romantic dinner together alone at home or out if you want. So, you want to be working on it, on an ongoing basis. It's not like just, it's Valentine's Day, let's go out. No, it's Valentine's Day every day, really, right? The other thing too is listen. There's a coach, I used to do a radio show too, Lily, so I know what you're going through. It's like, I hope this is over soon. No, I'm just kidding. But I had a coach on as a guest. His name is Jim Fannin. He's out of the U.S. And he coached some, pretty big people, especially in the athletic world. Anyway, he had this tool that he used called the 90-second rule, right? So, when you come home after a long day and maybe your partner is sitting there waiting for you, and you're just like, oh, honey, I'm so stressed. I'm going to, just go and get changed and whatever. You kind of brush them off. But his 90-second rule is, honey, hi, I'm home. It's so good to see you. Tell me about your day. What's going on for you? So you want to connect for 90 seconds, 'cause it's really all it takes, and just be and listen. You don't want to fix. You can't fix somebody. You just want to be there and listen. And just that notion too of being there and listening is probably the best gift you can give a close friend, a business colleague, or your family. So the 90-second rule is about just shut up and listen for 90 seconds. Yeah.
Thank you. For me, in my case, I actually prefer, instead of someone asking me, how was your day? I would prefer to be told, how was your day? For example, like, what was exciting that happened? Like, I would prefer to like hear the stories, because then I could, play along with that, and we could have a ball, kind of
Sure.
jokes at whatever happened, or what didn't happen that was supposed to happen, which was even more fun. And anyhow, so tell us about how can entrepreneurs heal their life with the W part of your SWIFT system.
So that's the work or business. It depends if you're an employee. And I guess, to heal it, make sure, like, we have choice. We could do something fun, right? We don't have to go to work and hate it. We can choose jobs that we enjoy. So first of all, choose a work that you love. What do they say? If you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. It's true. There's truth to that. And then another key thing is somehow make it fun, right? Like, maybe, just make it fun. Make your work fun somehow. What can you do to turn sort of the mundaneness of our work into something fun? Maybe you're cracking jokes with the customers, or you're on the social committee and you plan like social events for the staff, right? So that people can, after work, can get together and maybe do a walk in the park, or you bring in a yoga person to do yoga for the team. So somehow make your work life fun. The job might be a bit boring and mundane after a while, but you don't have to be, yourself. Like you can bring your fun side, your connection side, your social side into the job. And that'll really help. That'll also help you moving forward in terms of job security too. Yeah.
Thank you. Tell us about how can entrepreneurs heal their life with the T part of your SWIFT system?
Well, first of all, so the T is taken care of. So that's family, community, but also your health. And I think that's, without your health, what did they say? You have nothing. So that's a big investment. You want to invest time. So even if it's just a half-hour walk a day, you're doing amazing. Eating right, intermittent fasting, things like that you can take on to manage your health. The other thing I'm getting these days, and we talked about it at the beginning, Lily, because you asked a really good question, and we started this way. We're bombarded by so much noise and information and everybody's views that it's really important for your mental health, in terms of taking care of that, to just shut off all the distractions and have some quiet time, some meditation time. So when you're taking care of yourself, that's really super healing. Self-care, self-love. We're hearing these terms a lot, and taking care of includes taking care of your health. The other thing, we talked about family, but the other part of taking care of is community. And when you give back to the community, when you go and maybe help somebody who's homeless, or you volunteer at a food bank, or you donate, the true gift you get is the gift of giving, right? It's that almost, it's a currency that we can't exchange financially or put in our bank account, but it's a currency that's really important. You get more from giving than you get from getting. So I hope that answers that question.
Thank you. Tell us where entrepreneurs can find you.
I'm at my company's website is yourbigventure.com. So YOUR bigventure.com, and we're moving into new ground in terms of working with youth entrepreneurs 19 to 35 and youth employees in terms of our training and coaching practice. And on there you'll see information about our book, Live Life Swift, and the book's on Amazon as Live Life Swift. So yourbigventure.com, and if you want the book, I hope you do, it's Live Life Swift on Amazon. Thank you.
Follow me for more interviews with world's most innovative health changemakers to live your healthiest life ever.